The film opens not with action, but with silence. The kind of silence that tastes like memory. Ip Man's hands, steady yet worn, fold a letter neatly on his desk. The soft sunlight drapes across his small room in Foshan, capturing the calm of a man who has faced countless storms and learned to walk through them without letting anger stain his soul. But the letter in his hand trembles ever so slightly, because this letter is not from a rival master, not from a foreign authority, not from a student asking for guidance. It is from his doctor. A diagnosis. A countdown. A reminder that even the strongest spirit cannot negotiate with time. Ip Man exhales slowly. Not in fear, but in acceptance. The world knows him as a legend, but right now he is simply a father, wondering how much time he still has to guide his son. The strain within the family. Ip Ching, his teenage son, bursts into the room with school papers shoved carelessly in his hands. His frustration is written all over his face. "Father, the school blames me again. They never listen. They don't understand me." Ip Man listens quietly, letting the boy release everything. But when he finally speaks, his voice is calm, steady, unbreakable. "You must discipline your heart first. Only then can your actions be strong." Ip Ching looks away, half ashamed, half resentful. To him, discipline feels like a cage. To Ip Man, discipline is freedom. The gap between them widens. Later that night, Ip Man sits alone watching his son sleep. He imagines a future where he is no longer there to guide the boy. A future where his son might lose himself in anger or frustration. And so a decision forms quietly, growing like a seed inside him. He must find a place where his son can thrive. A place with better opportunities. A school that understands him. A place beyond the borders of China. The invitation from the West. The next morning, Ip Man receives a letter from an unexpected source, from his former student, Bruce Lee. The young martial artist, now a rising star in America, has been creating waves across the martial arts world by teaching Wing Chun openly to non-Chinese students. Traditionalists call it betrayal. The younger generation calls it evolution. Ip Man remains silent, watching, observing, understanding. Inside the letter, Bruce writes, "Sifu, if ever you visit America, my home is your home. The West is ready for what you taught me." Ip Man folds the letter slowly. America. Opportunity. A world unfamiliar, yet necessary. His son deserves a chance, even if it means stepping into a land filled with challenges he does not yet understand. And so the decision is made. He will travel to America. Not as a warrior, not as a legend, but as a father searching for a future. Journey to San Francisco. The ship cuts through the waves like a blade through silk. Ip Man stands on deck, hands behind his back, watching the vast expanse of the ocean as if it were a living metaphor for the unknown path ahead. Behind him, passengers bustle. Tourists, immigrants, hopeful dreamers. Ip Man remains still, breathing in a quiet rhythm that aligns with the pulse of the sea. Before arriving, he closes his eyes and whispers to himself. Every place holds a lesson. Every lesson requires humility. It is not martial arts he carries with him. It is wisdom. The New World. San Francisco hits Ip Man like a gust of cold wind. Loud, fast, structured, yet chaotic in its own rhythm. The Chinatown streets buzz with vendors, neon signs, and anxious energy. But beneath the lively exterior, Ip Man senses something else beneath the surface. Tension. the kind of tension that grows when a community is treated as an outsider in a country they helped build. He sees workers being harassed by passing soldiers, store owners pressured by corrupt officials, a bubbling resentment between Chinese neighborhoods and American authorities. The city is not a melting pot. It is a battlefield of unspoken prejudices. But Ip Man moves through it with humility, bowing politely, greeting vendors, offering soft smiles to curious children. A storm cannot disrupt a man who carries calm within him. Bruce Lee's dojo. Bruce Lee's dojo is alive with energy. Young men of all races, sparring, laughing, learning, transforming. The air vibrates with the sound of gloves hitting pads and the crack of wooden dummies. When Bruce turns and sees his master, his face lights with honest joy. He runs forward and bows deeply, an expression of gratitude, respect, and love. "Sifu, I didn't know you were coming." Ip Man smiles faintly. "I am here to learn." Bruce laughs. "No, Sifu, you are the teacher, always." But Ip Man raises a hand gently. A teacher is also a student, especially in a new land. Bruce's respect for him deepens even more. The conflict with the Chinese Benevolent Association. Soon, word spreads across Chinatown. Ip Man, the Wing Chun Grandmaster, has arrived. But not everyone is pleased. The Chinese Benevolent Association, a council of traditional masters, holds a meeting. Their faces are stiff, their eyes sharp. Master Wan, the head of the group, and a renowned expert in Tai Chi, speaks firmly. If Ip Man is here to support Bruce Lee's westernization of our art, then he is not a guest. He is a disruptor. They fear that Bruce's teachings will dissolve Chinese traditions into something unrecognizable. Ip Man is invited, or rather, summoned, to their headquarters. The hall is filled with martial artists, elders, and community leaders. As Ip Man enters, the tension thickens. Master Wan speaks politely but directly. "Your student teaches foreigners. He disrespects our customs. Your presence here suggests you support this." Ip Man answers calmly. "I am not your enemy. I am only a father." But martial artists fueled by pride do not listen to reason. One by one they test him. A northern stylist, a Hungar practitioner, a mantis boxer. Ip Man deflects, redirects, controls. Never injuring, only neutralizing. The crowd grows silent. This man is not here for supremacy. He is here for understanding. But Master Wan stands, recognizing that a confrontation between the two of them is inevitable. But not tonight. He bows lightly and says, "You have skill, but skill without loyalty is chaos." Ip Man bows back. Inflexible loyalty is blindness. Their conflict is not of fists, but of philosophy. A new threat arises. Across the city inside a Marine Corps base, a sergeant named Barton Geddes practices brutal karate strikes on a training dummy, his eyes burning with hatred. He believes Asian martial arts are inferior, a disgrace, a threat to American dominance. And when he hears whispers about a Chinese man humbling local fighters in Chinatown, he becomes obsessed. "Bring him to me," he orders his subordinates. "I'll show the world what real combat looks like." The stage is being set. The storm is approaching. But Ip Man does not know the battle waiting for him. He only knows the fragile distance between himself and his son and the ticking clock of his illness. Part 1 ends with Ip Man looking at another letter from home, a disciplinary report about Ip Ching. He closes his eyes. I must find a way for my son.
San Francisco feels different the next morning. The fog rolls in like a ghostly tide, swallowing buildings, hiding rooftops, softening the world into a pale gray. But beneath the softness lies a restless energy, a city on edge, a city murmuring with whispers of conflict. Ip Man walks through Chinatown with the calm of a monk and the awareness of a warrior. Every footstep is deliberate. Every breath is measured. But the world around him is no longer neutral. People watch him differently now. Some with admiration, some with fear, some with suspicion. Because rumors never travel with truth, they travel with speed, distortion, and heat. By now, the rumor says, a Chinese man challenged American authority and humiliated martial artists in secret. Some say he knocked down 10 men. Others say he disarmed police. Others call him a threat. Ip Man ignores these ripples of noise. He focuses on his purpose, the same quiet purpose that carried him across the ocean. But America is no longer watching him as a visitor. It is watching him as an intruder. The girl who carries silence. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Chinatown, a girl sits by herself in an empty classroom. Her name is Yana, daughter of Master Wan. Bright, disciplined, soft-spoken, a child raised in the graceful flow of Tai Chi. Yet she hides bruises beneath her sleeves, not from home, not from training, but from school, the place that should have been safe. American students bully her for speaking Chinese, for eating noodles instead of sandwiches, for moving gracefully instead of loudly, for being herself. Fear has taught her to shrink, to apologize for her existence. When she leaves school, she walks fast, trying to disappear into crowds. But today her path intersects with destiny, the kind that arrives silently. Ip Man sees her standing on a street corner, gripping her books too tightly, lungs tight from fear. He recognizes the look instantly. He has seen it on refugees, war survivors, people who live under threat. But now he sees it on a child. He bows gently to greet her, offering a small nod. She bows back politely, the way a respectful student addresses an elder. Their exchange is wordless but complete. In her eyes, Ip Man sees loneliness. In his presence, she feels a strange safety. For the first time today, she breathes without trembling. Bruce Lee and the world that doesn't understand him. Bruce Lee stands in his dojo, surrounded by men less interested in learning than in challenging. The martial arts community sees him as a renegade, someone who dares to mix styles, break traditions, and share secrets with foreigners. They question him, judge him, label him a traitor. But Bruce trains relentlessly, each punch sharper than the last, each kick a declaration of individuality, each movement a message. Martial arts must evolve. When Ip Man arrives, Bruce pauses and bows, drenched in sweat. Sifu, the world here is harder than I expected. Ip Man observes the dojo, multicultural, loud, chaotic, passionate. He replies, it is hardest for those who try to move forward. There is admiration in Bruce's eyes, the kind born only from those who built themselves upon the foundation of another. But beyond admiration, there is also guilt. Guilt that his actions sparked conflict for his teacher. Ip Man senses it and shakes his head gently. You owe me nothing. You walk your path. I walk mine. Bruce breathes out slowly, relieved yet burdened by the truth that even heroes cannot escape struggle. The seed of conflict blooms. While Ip Man moves with mindfulness, Sergeant Geddes moves with fury. In the Marine base, he watches a demonstration by Master Wan, who is brought in to teach Tai Chi as part of a cultural performance. The soldiers watch mockingly, laughing quietly. But Wan is dignified, his movements slow and effortless, each flowing like water. Geddes, anger simmering, sees it not as art but as an insult, a challenge to his authority. He storms onto the mat, cutting off the demonstration. You call that fighting? His tone is venomous, his posture explosive. Wan simply bows, calm, not threatened, not impressed. But Geddes is not the kind of man to accept silence. The humiliation infects him like poison. His pride erupts. Bring me that other Chinese man, he growls later to his subordinates. The one they talk about, the one who thinks he can fight. The storm is no longer brewing. It is marching directly toward Ip Man. The bullying explodes. The next afternoon, Yana is cornered by a group of American cheerleaders. Their leader, Becky, shoves her, mocks her accent, and spits cruel words disguised as jokes. But today, someone watches. Someone whose presence carries enough gravity to shift the tone of the universe. Ip Man steps quietly between them. He does not raise a hand. He does not threaten. His mere stillness becomes a shield. Becky recoils, startled by the calm intimidation of a man who radiates absolute control without anger. He says softly, "Stay away from her." It is not loud, but it is a command that even arrogance cannot ignore. The girls retreat, confused, frightened, humiliated. Yona trembles, not from fear, but from relief so overwhelming it almost breaks her. "Thank you," she whispers, cracking. Ip Man smiles gently. Strength is not loud. Remember that. To Yona, he is not just a martial artist. He is the first adult in America who stood for her without demanding anything in return. The strain on Master Wan. When Yona returns home with her father, Master Wan listens quietly as she retells the incident. He is grateful, but troubled, because the man who protected her is the same man the community now sees as a threat. He sits in silence long after she goes to her room. His principles clash against his pride, his duty as a father against his duty as a leader. He knows Ip Man's intentions are pure. He knows Ip Man saved his daughter. But the community whispers poison into his ears, urging him to confront this outsider who defies their authority. Master Wan feels the suffocating weight of expectation. Even his gratitude becomes chained by duty. A new understanding. One evening, Ip Man walks through Chinatown and finds Master Wan practicing Tai Chi under the lantern-lit courtyard of the association hall. Moonlight washes over him, turning his movements into flowing shadows, elegant, controlled, serene. Ip Man watches respectfully from a distance before stepping forward. Tonight, there is no tension, only honesty. Wan speaks first. "You protected my daughter. I owe you more than a bow." Ip Man nods solemnly. "And I apologize for any conflict my presence caused your community." Their eyes meet. This is the moment they finally understand. Not as rivals, not as leaders, but as fathers. Wan sighs deeply. "My daughter suffers because she is seen as different. My son suffers because you must choose a future for him. Perhaps our struggles are more alike than our arts." Ip Man smiles faintly. Perhaps. For the first time since arriving in America, Ip Man feels seen. Not as a symbol, not as a legend, but as a human being carrying a father's burden. But harmony is brief, and danger moves faster than peace. the spark that ignites the fire. At school the next day, another conflict erupts. Becky's father, a Marine officer, learns that a Chinese man interfered with his daughter. Anger blinds him. He storms into Chinatown, dragging soldiers with him, demanding answers, shouting slurs, provoking fear. He pushes an elderly fruit seller, knocks over a display table, and screams, "Where is he? Which one of you thinks you can touch my kid?" Before the chaos spirals further, Master Wan steps forward. The officer shoves him, too, a mistake he will regret. Wan does not fight back. He refuses to. He believes in peace. But Marines do not understand peace. The officer arrests him forcefully, claiming assault, dragging him away as Chinatown watches helplessly. The community feels violated, humiliated, powerless. They turn to the only person who has shown the courage to stand alone, Ip Man. The call for help. Bruce Lee rushes into Ip Man's lodging late that night, breathless. "Sifu, Master Wan has been arrested. The Marines took him. They're planning something ugly." Ip Man doesn't ask how or why. He only asks one thing. Where?
The air inside the Chinatown Community Center is heavy with anxiety. The scattered debris, overturned tables, and lingering scent of burnt incense mark the aftermath of the earlier confrontations. Outside, sirens echo like restless spirits prowling the night. Yet inside the heart of this chaos, Ip Man stands grounded, calm, still, and resolute. His silhouette, steady under the flickering lights, becomes a silent reassurance for those still trembling from the violence. Tensions between the Chinese community and the military officers have reached a boiling point. The city feels like a pressure cooker ready to burst. Fear walks every alley. Anger hides behind every window. And in this dimly lit moment, everyone looks at Ip Man as if he is no longer just a visitor, but a guardian they never asked for, but desperately needed. Wan Zonghua, battered but standing, approaches Ip Man with a hesitant gratitude. The stubborn pride that once fueled their conflict now melts into a quiet respect. "Master Ip, today you did not fight for yourself. You fought for all of us." Ip Man gives a subtle nod, not to receive praise, but to acknowledge the burden now placed on his shoulders. He never came here to lead a war. He came to find a better future for his son. Yet fate, as it always does, reshaped his path. The U.S. Marines, shame, fury, and a hunger for dominance. News of the defeat spreads through the Marine base like wildfire. Hartman, the aggressive, unyielding karate instructor, burns with humiliation. The idea that a civilian outsider, as he calls Ip Man, embarrassed him publicly is an insult too great to ignore. His obsession grows fanatical. "This isn't over," he snarls, fist slamming against a locker. "I don't care what the colonel says. I'll finish this myself." Behind him, the younger Marines exchange uneasy glances. Some believe in Hartman's vision of American martial superiority. Others, shaken by what they witnessed, begin to question it. For the first time, doubts creep into the foundation of their arrogance. Danny, the Chinese-American boy, is dragged back into this conflict unwillingly. His earlier defiance against bullies like discrimination becomes another spark igniting Hartman's anger. In Hartman's twisted logic, the boy's confidence is proof that foreign influence is corrupting American youth, meaning Ip Man must be crushed. What follows is a dangerous escalation. Hartman plans to ambush the community center, not to arrest, not to intimidate, but to prove a point. A violent, senseless point. The calm before the storm. Ip Man's inner war. Night settles across San Francisco with a cold, unforgiving wind.
Ip Man takes a quiet walk through Chinatown, hands folded behind his back, coat fluttering lightly. Lanterns sway above him, casting a soft red glow onto the wet pavement. He reflects on his life, the diagnosis he hides in his pocket, the son growing distant at home, the wife he still mourns, and the endless battles he never wanted but always faced. A man of peace forced into conflict again and again. He pauses at a small bridge overlooking the water. His reflection wavers, fragmented by ripples, as if symbolizing the fractures within his life. A simple question echoes through his thoughts. What legacy will I leave behind? Technique? Honor? Strength? Or something bigger? He realizes that every battle he fights shapes not only his future, but the cultural future of the Chinese people trying to survive in foreign lands. His strength is no longer a personal virtue, it is a shield for an entire community. The invasion. Hartman strikes. Screeching tires, heavy boots slamming against pavement, the unmistakable metallic clicks of batons, sticks, and weapons. Hartman's squad storms the community center with the rage of a man who believes he's restoring pride. The elders scream. Children hide behind folding chairs. Martial arts students brace themselves instinctively. Hartman bursts through the doors like a rabid animal. "Where is he?" he shouts. His voice reverberates like thunder in a cage. Wan Zhonghua steps forward despite his injuries. "Hartman, this is a place of peace." Hartman backhands him violently. "This is my country, and I'll decide what peace looks like." He orders his soldiers forward. Chaos erupts. Marines swarm the students, overturning tables, shoving civilians, swinging batons. The air explodes with shouts, crashes, panicked cries. And then, a quiet voice from behind. "Enough!" The room falls silent. Everyone turns. Ip Man stands at the entrance. Posture straight, expression unreadable, presence overpowering. The storm has just met a mountain. The final duel. Wing Chun versus karate. Honor versus pride. The two men face each other in the ruined hall illuminated by dangling lights. Hartman grins with grotesque confidence. "This time, old man, you're not walking away." Ip Man steps forward. "You are hurting innocent people. I cannot let that continue." Hartman attacks first, fast. A blur of fists, elbows, and stomping kicks. His strikes are powerful enough to shake the floorboards. But Ip Man doesn't move with panic. He moves with clarity. Each block is a calm wave extinguishing fire. Each counter is precise, minimal, economical. Hartman grows increasingly wild. Ip Man grows unimaginably sharper. He parries Hartman's roundhouse, redirects momentum with a subtle pivot, delivers 3 chain punches to the ribs, a palm strike to the sternum, a sweep that sends Hartman crashing. But Hartman rises again, fueled by humiliation. He lunges with a knife hand strike meant to break bone. Ip Man steps inside the attack, Wing Chun's purest essence, and unleashes a flurry of chain punches like a storm collapsing on a roof. Hartman's guard breaks. His stance breaks. His ego breaks. Ip Man finishes with a controlled takedown, pinning him to the ground with a single, disciplined motion. The entire room freezes. No one breathes. Ip Man's voice is quiet, but it cuts deeper than any strike. Strength means nothing without compassion. Hartman collapses, defeated, not just physically, but spiritually. Resolution. The legacy that outlasts the man. Police arrive. Marines pull Hartman away. The colonel apologizes sincerely to the Chinese community. For the first time, respect flows both ways. Danny's father bows deeply to Ip Man. The community surrounds him with gratitude. Yet in all the celebration, Ip Man's eyes soften with a quiet sadness, because he knows something they do not. His time is running out. The last gift. A seed of Wing Chun. Before leaving America, Ip Man asks to see Bruce Lee. In a small, humble training room, Ip Man watches Bruce Lee demonstrate the fluid, explosive techniques he has developed. Ip Man smiles softly. "You have made Wing Chun your own. It will grow beyond us both." Bruce's eyes fill with emotion. "Master, let me train with you again." Ip Man shakes his head gently. "Your path is already forward. Do not walk backward for my sake." He places his hand on Bruce's shoulder. A silent passing of the torch. Back in Hong Kong, Ip Man records demonstration footage for his son. Not dramatic fights, but gentle, methodical movements. A father's last lesson, not a warrior's. As his illness worsens, he sits beside the window, listening to the faint sounds of children practicing martial arts outside. A small smile forms. His life was never about fighting. It was about teaching others to stand tall on their own. And with that final breath of peace, Ip Man's legend becomes eternal.